Smartphone refresh rate, a deep dive. The world of smartphones boasts numerous technical specifications, and the refresh rate is gaining traction. Let's delve into what it is and how it impacts your phone experience. Understanding refresh rates. Imagine your phone screen like a flipbook. Refresh rate refers to how many times per second the pages flip, measured in Hertz. A higher refresh rate translates to smoother visuals and quicker response times. Think of it like watching a movie. A higher frame rate creates a more realistic and fluid experience compared to a lower frame rate where motion appears choppy. High refresh rates, smoother viewing. While standard phone displays refresh at 60 Hz, newer models can reach 90 Hz, 120 Hz, or even higher. This translates to clearer images, less motion blur, and a more enjoyable experience, especially for gaming and fast-paced videos. Imagine scrolling through social media or playing a game with a high refresh rate. Everything feels smoother and more responsive. The ideal refresh rate for your needs. For casual users who primarily use their phones for checking emails, browsing the web, or social media, a 60 Hz refresh rate is perfectly adequate. You likely won't perceive a significant difference between 60 Hz and higher refresh rates for these everyday tasks. However, media enthusiasts and gamers will benefit from a higher refresh rate, 90 Hz or 120 Hz, for a smoother and more immersive experience. Gamers, in particular, can experience reduced lag and a more responsive gaming experience with a higher refresh rate phone. Unveiling the refresh rate mystery. Think of refresh rate as your display's ability to redraw itself. A 144 Hz display redraws the image 144 times per second, leading to a more fluid visual experience compared to a standard 60 Hz display. This increased redrawing allows for smoother animations and scrolling, making everything on your phone feel more responsive. Is 60 Hz refresh rate outdated? For most TVs, a 60 Hz refresh rate has long been the standard and is perfectly comfortable for the eyes. However, newer TVs with 120 Hz refresh rates showcase a noticeable difference in motion fluidity, making visuals appear more lifelike. Imagine watching a sports game on a 60 Hz TV. You might see some blur in fast-moving objects. With a 120 Hz refresh rate, that blur is significantly reduced, creating a more realistic viewing experience. Refresh rate versus battery life, a balancing act. There's a trade-off to consider. Higher refresh rates do consume more battery. If you are using your phone for basic tasks like checking email or browsing the web, a high refresh rate won't provide any noticeable benefit and will only drain your battery faster. Many phones allow you to adjust the refresh rate to optimize battery life or prioritize smoothness. Does refresh rate affect your eyes? A high refresh rate itself doesn't directly impact your eyesight. However, it can influence how you perceive motion on the screen. With a higher refresh rate, motion appears smoother and more natural, which can reduce eye strain for some users, especially during extended gaming sessions or watching fast-paced content. Top-tier refresh rates for flagship phones. High-end smartphones are pushing the boundaries with refresh rates exceeding 120 Hz. The iPhone 14 Pro reaches 120 Hz, while some Android models like the Asus ROG 6 Pro go as high as 165 Hz. The Sharp Aquos 02 boasts the highest refresh rate currently available at a staggering 240 Hz. This is especially targeted towards gamers who demand the absolute smoothest and most responsive experience. The human eye's limits, perception versus reality. Our eyes are complex organs, and their perception of motion isn't a single, definitive number. While our eyes can perceive color changes around 30 frames per second, they are more sensitive to other things. Brightness changes are detectable at closer to 60 frames per second, and motion perception is closer to 100 frames per second. So, while a phone's refresh rate might exceed what our eyes can consciously perceive in individual frames, the overall effect is a smoother and more natural viewing experience.